Good afternoon, class. In today's class, we are discussing regarding the partnership. In that, the last part of the partnership is rights of the partners. Rights of partners. So every partner will having some rights. Okay, every partner will have some rights. Okay, if you go through that, they are just like this. To take part in the management of the business, every partner can have can take part in the management of the business, right? So for doing some particular business, if you have some n number of partners, out of all the n members can have the right right to management to do some work related to the management of that particular business. And also every partner has his own opinion to express regarding that particular business. And also every partner can have the right to inspect the copy and the book of accounts of the firm, right? As a partner he can inspect anytime this account books, right? So and also he can also have equal rights. He can also have equal rights regarding the profits of the firm. Okay, and that means their partnership share will be according to their investment, right? Okay, and also with respect to the agreement. Okay, based on the agreement only they will share the profits or losses, right? So sometimes what happens is the partners will get the interest. Okay, the partners will be getting interest with the agreed rate of with an agreed rate. Okay, okay, not only that, and also they can they can receive interests on the loans. Okay, and not only that, they also should face the loss. Not only that, to receive any money spent by him in the ordinary and proper conduct of business of the firm, he can receive the money what he has spent for the sake of the company. That means for the sake of that particular company. Okay, every partner will have these rights to take part in the business management of the business and to express his opinion before the others regarding the business. And he also has the right to inspect the copies or the books of accounts and also to share the profits with respect to their investment as per the agreement. Okay, to and also not only that, sometimes if they can get interest of the capital what they have invested in that particular business. They can also receive some interest on loans. Okay, if at all any loss occurs, he also has to pay face that, right? He can also get money back if he has spent some money to the for the good conduct of the business, that particular business, right? So that is the thing. Okay, we have the other concept called like joint or company or joint stock company. Okay, so generally we have some drawbacks of solo partnership and solo proprietorship and partnership. So to overcome those, we also have these joint stock companies. The first joint stock company was started in the Italy in the 13th century itself, right? This type of joint stock companies act was passed in 1850. Okay, this type of joint stock company concept has come from in 1856 itself. In 1956, a comprehensive act has passed regarding these joint stock companies, which is still existence. Okay, so we follow that particular rules now also, which is made in 1956. Okay, we have some definition for this joint stock company. So, joint stock company is a voluntary association of persons for profits whose capital is divided into transferable shares. Transferable shares and ownership is required for its membership. Right? A joint stock company is a voluntary association of persons for profits whose capital is divided into transferable shares. Do you understand now? So, if a company requires some amount, they will go for some public issue, and that means they will sell these transferable shares. For example, a company requires 1 crore rupees. For that, a single person can't get this 1 crore rupees. So, a person who established that particular company can establish, that means he can procure amount of 40 lakhs. So, but to establish the total company, we require 60 lakhs more. That means total cost is around 1 crore. At present, he has only 40 lakhs. He requires 60 more lakhs. So in that case, what he has to do? He will be generally going for some loan. If he tries for loan and he gets no problem for total 60 lakhs. If not, if he gets only the loan for 20 lakhs means some more 40 lakhs rupees are required. So in that case, what happens is he'll go for some public issue. That means so he requires 40 lakh rupees, for example, 40 lakhs from his own, 20 lakhs from the loan of a bank, and 40 more lakhs are required. For this 40 more lakhs, he can go for some public issue. That means this 40 lakhs will be converted into some number of shares. Each share may cost, for example, each share may cost 1000 or else 100 rupees like that. Okay, he will convert this 40 lakhs. He will collect this 40 lakhs in terms of the shares, the transferable shares. Okay, that everyone buys that particular share, and based on the profit of the company, the share value will be increasing. Okay, share value will be increasing, or sometimes it may decrease. If the company is in the loss, sometimes the share values they will also decrease. So based on the market, they are based upon the market only. So capital is turned as a transferable shares, and the ownership of that particular shares will be divided for different persons. Okay. So joint stock company is a voluntary association of persons for profits whose capital is divided into transferable shares and ownership is required for its membership, right? So these shares, the persons who gets shares, he can sell his shares to other one, right? Okay. Now, if you see the features of this joint stock company, this first feature of this is artificial person. So this joint stock company will have some artificial person. A company is an artificial person created by law. It has its own name and seal. Okay, it can perform all the activities of business like purchase and sales of the goods. And the other feature of this is joint stock companies voluntary association of persons. So here, this voluntary association of persons who wanted to carry on business for the sake of profits. To carry this business, they need some capital, so they invest in the share capitals of the company. Okay, so capital is divided into shares. Here, the capital is divided into shares. That thing we also discussed just now. Common seal. So generally, this type of company will not have general physical shape, but it is created by law only. It cannot sign its name on paper, so it has a common seal on which it is named is engraved. Okay, management and ownership is separate hands. Right here, management and ownership is separate hands. Shareholders are the owners of the business, but they do not manage the business. Okay, the board of directors appointed by them to manage this company. Joint stock company means the shareholders are the owners of the business, but they don't manage anything regarding the business. But they represent, there will be some board members as directors, which are appointed to manage the business, right? So generally, the name of this type of companies will be end with limited, L I, so LTD. You have seen so many companies with LTD, right? That is limited, right? It is necessary that the name of the company ends with limited to give an indication to the outsiders that they are dealing with the company with the limited liabilities. Okay, they are dealing with the company with the limited liabilities. Okay, so we have some advantage. These all the six are the features of the joint stock company. We have the definition for this joint stock company also, and we have some advantages and disadvantages for the joint stock company. So we can also see the different types of companies. You can see first of and foremost advantage of joint stock company, that is limited liabilities. The shareholders will have the limited liability. So this limited liability, that's liability limited to the face value of the share held by him. Face value of the share means you might have bought the share for 1000 rupees. At present day, the share value of that may not be a 1000 rupees, it may be some 700 rupees. That is the face value of that particular share. Okay, limited liability, the shareholder have limited liability, that is liability limited to the face value of the share held by him. Okay, transferability of shares. So you can share You can transfer your shares to others, but it has to be done in a particular format. Okay, next, availability of large resources. Availability of large resources under the joint stock company, even though it is limited, but we can also have the large resources, right? So, as the capital is collected from the public by selling these shares in the primary market, a company enjoys the benefit of large resources. So, when we go with this type of joint stock companies, we can have huge amount of loan. Okay, company enjoys the benefit of large resources. Okay, stability of existence. So the company has perpetual existence. The company is just a perpetual one. Okay, not a tangent one. Okay, so its existence is not affected by the death, insolvency of any of its members. Right, we can solve any of the problem which may occur in this type of joint stock companies. Next, we have the efficient management. So the affairs of the company can be managed efficiently since the company is in a position to employ experts as professional managers due to availability of large amount of funds. Okay, the affairs of the company can be managed efficiently since company is in a position to employ experts as a professional managers to the availability of large amount of funds. Okay, joint stock company can have huge amounts. Okay, since it is collecting, since we are collecting the capital from different persons by selling the shares, right? So we have some economies of large scale production also. So with the availability of large capital and managed expertise, a joint stock company enjoys the economies of marketing products specializations. So joint stock company can have large sales production also. So large scale production can also be possible since we can have money, we can get more money. Okay. In the similar fashion, we also have some disadvantages of the joint stock company. What is it? Difficulty in formulation. Sorry, difficulty in formation. Okay. So in order to start a joint stock company, there are many legal formalities. They all has to be satisfied. They all has to be satisfied. Delay in decision making. Okay. In a joint stock company, there will be many number of managing directors and also general customers or the persons who has invested in that. So difficulty in formation. Joint stock companies have we have some legal formalities. So its formation is a little bit delay. All the legal formalities has to be fulfilled. Delay in decision making, as there are many number of managing directors and also shareholders. There will be huge delay in the decision making. Also, lack of secrecy. Okay, as there are many number of persons those who has invested in the business, If they insist what is business secret, that can also be leaked. Okay, lack of secrecy. So every matter has to be informed to the shareholder. So there will not be any secrecy regarding that. Okay. So separate ownership and management. Okay. The management and the owners of this of the company are not directly related. Management and the owners of the company are not directly related. So management unlike solo partnership, solo proprietorship and partnership may not be personal interest in the growth of the company. Like some proprietorship and partnership may not have personal interest in the growth of the company, right? So since it is a joint stock company, all the shareholders may not show much interest regarding the improvement of the particular company. Okay. So see here, different types of companies we have. Uh, Types of companies based on the incorporation, based on the liabilities, based on the ownerships, based on the nationality. We have different types of companies. So types of companies based on the incorporation, if you see, chartered companies. We have some chartered companies, statutory companies, registered companies based on the incorporation. Okay, based on the incorporation, it may be of chartered company, standby companies, and some registered companies. Based on the liabilities, also we can have different types of companies. One, one is companies limited by the shares. We have some companies limited by shares, and also companies limited by guarantee, companies limited by shares, companies limited by guarantee, and unlimited companies. Based on the liabilities, these are classified, right? Next one is based on the ownership. Government companies are holding companies, or private companies, or public companies. We have this type of four different types of companies. Okay, based on the nationality also, these companies can be categorized into Indian companies and foreign companies, right? So according to incorporation, what are the four varieties of companies you can see? So see here, according to the incorporation, chartered company, you see, chartered companies are those who are incorporated under royal chapter issued by king or head of the state. Example, East India Company. Okay, chartered company, you can see. This thing we have studied in the social studies. Okay, at the time of British rule, we used to have this East India companies. These are the chartered companies, and those which are incorporated under the ruler, under the royal chapter, under the royal chapter, just issued by a king or a head of the state. Example for this is just East India Company, right? Statutory company. Okay, so this statutory company is nothing but it's the company found according to the special act of the parliament or the state, right? So this is registered company, the company which is under the Companies Act. This registered companies, the company which is under this Company Act. Most companies in India are registered in the India under the Companies Act of 1956, right? Okay. According to the liabilities we see, these companies can be categorized into these varieties. Three varieties. Companies limited by the shares. Okay. So this in this type of companies, capital is divided into small parts called as shares. The shareholders purchase the shares and they are liable only for the value of the shares held by them. Okay. And also we have companies limited by the guarantee. So companies limited by guarantee. You can see a company is said to be limited by the guarantee, where the liability of the number is limited to such an amount as agreed upon the contribute to the assets of the company. Okay, companies limited by some guarantee. So see here, companies limited by guarantee means just like the banks, what are some what we think as the government banks, that is just like SBI or some Canara Bank or some any other Union Bank like this. Okay, for example, you can see this Andhra Bank. You can see so this Andhra Bank is merged into the Union Bank, right? That is companies limited by guarantee, right? If at all they have, if Andhra Bank has to be winded up, they just merged that particular part. That means that one into the Union Bank. That means the deposit which is present already in the Andhra Bank will be, it can be repaid back by the Union Bank. Okay, that is the thing. But the company is limited by guarantee, right? So limited companies, you can see the limited companies. And unlimited company is one where the prosperity proposal pro- proprietary of each member can be used to clear the debits of the company. Unlimited company, you can see. It's a limited company means different. Unlimited company is different, right? So if it is an unlimited company, is the one where the personal property of every member can be used to clear the debts of the company. That's the reason why they are keeping their name as private limited. Private limited means that is a limited. That means limited liabilities can be used for the clearing of the debts of that particular company. So see here, based on the ownership also, we have different types of companies. So government company. Okay, according to the Companies Act 1956, government company means company in which not less than 51% of the paid up shares capital is held by the government, then we can say it is a government company, right? Okay, 51 percentage of shares if it is with the government sector, then we call it as a government company. Holding company. holding company means a holding company is the one which controls the composition of board of directors of another company or holds more than half of the nominal value of the equity share capital in that company. If you see, for example, do you know this bank named Andhra Pragati Gramin Vikas Bank? Andhra Pragati Gramin Vikas Bank. It is, or else you can take any other Gramin bank. If you take any Gramin bank, it might be sponsored by some other government company banks only. Okay, I think Andhra Pragati Gramin Bank, Chaitanya Godavari Gramin Bank. We have this type of Gramin banks. For example, for them, main bank, say some syndicate bank or some other bank, it is the main company, and it's some part. It, that bank, the main bank, is going to control this Gramin Bank. Okay, that is holding company. So we have private company also. A private company is the one which has a restrictions to transfer its shares. Member should be minimum of two and maximum of 50. A private company means a private company will have a minimum of two members and a maximum of 50 persons. Okay. After that, we can't say it as a private company. It will be automatically becoming a joint stock company. Okay. Public company you can see here. This means a company that is not a private company. It has a minimum paid up capital of 5 lakh rupees or such higher paid up capital and allows transfer of its shares, right? A company that is not a public company means it's not a private company. Okay, it is has a minimum paid up of capital, paid up capital of 5 lakh rupees or such higher paid up capital and allows transfer of its shares, right? So on the basis of nationality, also we have different types of companies. One is the Indian company, a company incorporated in India under the Indian Companies Act of 1956. Then we call it as an Indian company. Foreign company, you can say. Foreign company is a company incorporated outside India but established a place of business within the India is called as a foreign company. Okay. So we have public sector enterprises. Public sector enterprises. So public sector enterprise means it is just owned and managed and controlled by the central government or state government or any local authority. Okay. So we have some public enterprise, government contributors, and whole are the major part of the capital is just postal railways, FCIs, Food Corporation of India, Life Insurance Corporation, Bharat Heavy Electronics Limited, Bell. These all are the public sector enterprises. Okay, they are the part of either central government or else state government. Okay, features of the public sector enterprise you can see it is managed by the government. So it's a public sector enterprise which is owned and managed by the government, and this management is with the some departments of. any appointment of officials, right? They are appointed by the government itself. Okay. Provision of public utilities. The basic aim of this enterprise is to provide a minimum necessity to the citizens at a reasonable price. Okay. So at a reasonable price, they can provide some best services. Next, implementation of government plans. So implementation of government plans such as economic plans or intended or some welfare of the people. This is implemented with this type of public sector enterprises only. Large scale industries. So industries which are of great importance to the public at large and require huge capital investments are set up in these public sectors only. So DRDO or else some ISRO, all these are all the public sectors only where they require more amount of money. So they all are made as the public sector enterprises. Okay, government only will invest in those. What's the need for public enterprise? You can see. So for the economic growth, we require some public enterprise. So and also not only that, to create some employment opportunities, we require this public enterprises and utilization of natural resources. For that purpose, also we require this public enterprise. That means Singareni college you can see. That is also utilization of natural resources. A coal which is beneath the earth, which is dragged out and utilized. Okay, government revenues. So public enterprise gets a lot of revenue for the government, which can again be utilized for public welfare only. Okay, avoiding exploitation. So to avoid exploitation, also government has to do some business in some sectors. So if some private people are allowed to trade in these aspects, they will. And a common man gets exploited. He can't bear that. Okay. So problems of public enterprises. We have some problems for this public enterprise also. What are this? See, political interference. Political parties try to influence the functioning of the public enterprises, which may affect the efficiency of the enterprise. Okay, we have some problems for the public enterprise also, just like that. Political interference. Political interference will be there in these public enterprises. Accountability. We will have lack of accountability become which is becoming an hindrance of these enterprises. Delay in completion. So everyone is appointed by the government, either central government or state government. Definitely, most of the time there will be delay, right? Since lack of attention is paid for that. So it may take long time to complete this type of projects. This may increase the cost of the project also. Overstaffing. Okay, these public enterprises sometimes will have overstaff also. These enterprises are due to the political enterprises. Enterprises may hire or recruit employees much more than the required number. Okay, that means that may cause the overstaffing. Automatically it becomes a loss also. Less returns. You will have less returns for this type of public enterprises. This is the main motto is generally these public enterprises are governed by the state government or the central government. We can have less returns due to inefficient management and political interferences. So, we have different types of public sector enterprises. Generally, we categorize into three public enterprises. One is departmental organizations, public corporations, government companies. Okay, and departmental organizations you can see. So we have departmental organizations, public corporations, and government companies. Okay, this is the earliest form of the public enterprise. Under this form, each department has a minister. Each department will have a minister who controls the operations of these enterprises. Normally, a managing director is appointed to control these enterprises. So, generally, the IAS officers will be posted as this managing directors. IAS officers are posted as the managing directors for this. Generally, example will be the railway department, departmental organization. For that example is railway department. So we have some features for these departmental organizations. These departmental organizations are controlled or managed by the government through IAS officers. Okay, the capital or the finance is provided from the government revenue itself. Budget of these undertakings are approved or passed by the legislature. Okay, we have legislative count, legislatures, right? Just like in parliament or state. So some we have some advantage of this type of departmental organizations. So coming to the advantages, efficiency. We have some efficiency. So the undertaking can work efficiently because they are controlled by the minister of the particular department. We can also have accountability. We also have a source of finance, that is direct source of revenue of the government. Okay, government is directly giving this revenue for this type of enterprises, right? Departmental organizations. So we have some disadvantages also, that is reactive decisions. So sometimes the decisions which are taken may cause some reactive. They do not normally take as a proactive approach. Okay, excessive government control. Excessive government control in the sense sometimes government it is not going to give more freedom to the IAS and IAS officers to take their own decisions and to implement those. Okay, that may also stop the growth of the particular department, right? Incompetent staff. Incompetent staff means uh, This undertaking lacks competent staff, which may be because of recruitment policy, monetary benefits offered to the employees, etc. Right? So we have to follow different types of recruitment policies, and we have to recruit them. And sometimes we may have inefficient staff also due to the existing rules. Okay, slow response to the market conditions. Okay, when it is in such a company, we can't simply change as we like. We can't implement the new technologies or decisions. Has to be done from the ministry level to the IAS officer level to some other lower level employees. So it takes some delay also. They will be unlimited. They will be limited. What we say, limited changes to the existing products of the particular companies, right? We also have public corporations. So we can go through that public companies and government company. You see the features and advantages and disadvantages of each one. In the next class, we will start this business cycle, which is the main topic of our syllabus, right? The rest all what we have discussed previously is just for our knowledge, and also you have to study that one also thoroughly. In the next classes, we'll start the business cycles. Meanwhile, we go with these two subtopics, that is government policies and public enterprises, right? There is government company and also public corporation. We go through that.